Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make this adorable little farmhouse country lunchbox and a thermos, all using Dollar Tree items. Stay tuned. For this project I used some paint, some Mod Podge, some wood glue. I used a set of salt and pepper shakers. I only used one, but they come, two in a set. These adorable boxes from Dollar Tree. It's amazing what you find when you're crafting your stash. I found this clip to hold a badge. And then I had one more little doorknob or cabinet knob. I'm using some buffalo check in black and white. I got from Hobby Lobby when it was 25 cents on sale, so I grabbed a few sheets of that. And this is my inspiration. I love vintage little lunch boxes and thermoses, and this was one of my favorites from childhood. So using these two boxes that you get from Dollar Tree, I thought putting them together would be the perfect size to create this lunchbox. I put some wood glue on a Q-tip because I didn't want this running all over the place, and tried to be really careful applying the wood glue to the outer edge to put these two boxes together, not realizing at the time that they actually aren't exactly the same size. They're supposed to be, but again, it was only $1, so I can't be like too upset, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of a struggle getting these to line up and be one cohesive piece. But once you put everything together, you really don't notice that these aren't the same size, so it was all good. Once I had them kind of lined up, as good as it was going to get, I made sure that I removed any glue that did come out in between the little crease where they're together, and I set this aside to dry. I probably let this dry for a couple hours. I wanted to make sure they were not going to come apart. And I don't normally use wood glue. I usually use hot glue, but I was determined to do it right this time. So taking that metallic and gray, I went around all of the edges, every single edge, just in case when you added the scrapbook paper that you could see, because I was going to be cutting it smaller, and you'll see why next. But just go around with that metallic gray or any gray that you have on hand and make sure you get all of the edges. Now the top and the bottom, I did give a full coat of the gray because those sides you're going to see. Those other sides you're not going to see. They're going to be covered with that buffalo check. So you're going to separate the salt and pepper shakers because we're only using one. Make sure the lid is on real tight. I know there's holes at the top, but I was hoping with this paint it would cover. I chose red. You can use whatever color you want. I just think that red goes really well with the black and white buffalo check. And I just think that red accents real farmhouse, real country, and that's why I chose the red. So you're going to want to paint the lid. You're going to want to also paint the bottom, just the areas that you're going to be able to see. And you're going to want to kind of come down into the top part of it also. So I set that aside to dry, and I'm going to move on to cutting out my little templates by just tracing around the box. I was trying to use just one of these scrapbooking papers for this project. I actually ended up, I think, using about 1.5. So once I measured, I cut it out, and I did have to trim. I wanted the edges of the lunchbox to be seen. I didn't want this totally covering it. I wanted you to be able to see the sides. So I just kept putting it up to it and then trimming just slightly, a little bit at a time, till I had that desired piece. Once I had it the size I wanted it, I used that to cut the next piece. So you're going to need 2 bigger pieces for either side, and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to use the side of the box to cut your other 2 pieces that will go on each smaller side. And do it the same way. Measure it, trim it, and you can use that as a template to cut the other piece. Now we're going to use some Mod Podge, and we're going to attach these to the box. I just added some Mod Podge to the back of it, and I attached the 2 bigger pieces on either end, and then I went in with the smaller pieces and attached those to the sides. Now, just a quick tip here, because I did make this mistake. I thought that because I used it as a template, they were both going to be the exact same size. I must have cut wrong, and I ended up having to cut a little bit more off after I already put the Mod Podge on the other side of this. So just, you'll see me now. I got smarter, and I put these on it first just to make sure. Then I added the Mod Podge and went in and secured them. You're going to see me use a napkin to smooth this out. This is another tip. Maybe it's just me who does this, but I always end up getting Mod Podge on my fingers. And the last thing I want to do is rub that on the front of this. So that's why you see me using a napkin to smooth it out. That way no Mod Podge is getting anywhere it shouldn't be. Starting to look like a lunchbox. You have your buffalo check on all 4 sides. So now we're going to work on our thermos. I'm taking the other shaker and using that to cut out my buffalo check. I thought my paint might be dry, but I wasn't taking any chances of getting the red on this. And I had 2, so why not use 1 to measure? So I measured it out, cut it to size, and now I'm just wrapping it and kind of using my table and my fingers just to kind of indent this paper. Scrapbook paper is a little thicker, and I wanted this just to be a little bit more bendable, pliable to work with. And then I went and I actually just kept folding it with my fingers just so it would wrap around easy once I put the Mod Podge on it. So putting Mod Podge just on the back of it, I'm not putting Mod Podge on the front of any of this project. So putting it on the back of it and taking the pepper or salt, I'm not sure which one this is. It's either salt or pepper. Taking that, I'm putting it on the scrapbook paper that I have Mod Podge on and rolling it. And then I'm the same way the table to really secure this, making sure that all of the edges are nice and crisp and that it is actually adhering to the shaker. I'm just going to call this shaker because I don't know which one it is. So coming back in with some white paint, I'm going around those edges, trying to be careful to not get it on the buffalo check, but if it gets on it, that's okay. I'm also using my finger as I go to kind of smooth it out so it looks like it's blended in and not just lines of paint outlining corners. On my lunchbox, it was white on the edges, and I knew I couldn't replicate, of course, that, totally, but I was just adding some white to highlight these edges. Then I come back in with that copper penny and add that also to give it kind of like a rusted look, aged look, I guess. It showed up a little bit, enough to do what I wanted it to do. I wanted to do a farmhouse lunchbox. My cat is sneaking up on me. I don't know if you guys can hear her purring. And that's why I chose buffalo check. I did end up getting some paint on the top because I'm so sloppy painter. I am just so sloppy. So then I ended up just going with it and added some more white to the top and used my finger to blend it in. Now this is where it's really gonna start like coming alive and really start looking like a lunchbox. Once you highlight these areas, every step of this process, you can really start getting excited because it's just coming alive. I was so excited. This would be super cute also. I don't know as far as like copyright issues, if you can even print out vintage on Google Image, like if you wanted a Happy Days lunchbox or Hobby Lobby. I don't know if you even can print those images. But this would be really cute to do this as a vintage lunchbox too. Now I needed to figure out how to put this little handle. I had this in my stash and could not get it off. So then, plan B. I went and grabbed some of my numbers, my little wooden numbers that you can get from Dollar Tree, and that worked perfect. Fit perfectly to make a little handle. That's what this thermos was missing, its handle. So cutting the smaller part of that 8 off, I hot glued it to the top of the shaker and then added some hot glue on either side of it. I wasn't worried about seeing that hot glue. I could paint right over it. And it worked. It blended in. You really didn't even see the hot glue. And just adding some red paint over that made that little handle that this desperately needed. You can't have a thermos without a little handle. How are you going to hold your top, drink your soup? In my craft stash, don't ask me why I have this. I don't even know. But it's for like to hold a badge. I found so many things I didn't even know about. But it was a perfect little top for this lunchbox. It looked just like that clasp on my other lunchbox that you would have on a lunchbox to open and close it. And then this is my last one too. You can get these at Lowe's. I think was like $1.30 for these handles for a cupboard. And as you can see on the original lunchbox, the handle's pretty big. It goes from end to end. So this fit perfect on the 2 wooden pieces that I made a lunchbox with. So I was very pleasantly surprised with how well this handle worked and how well that clip worked. And this is when it just starts looking like the perfect little wooden farmhouse lunchbox, because you need these 2 pieces so that people know what this is. But I was so happy. Look at that. It looks like a lunchbox. So cute. So farmhouse, so country. And then I just added some red paint and covered that up. Like I said before, you could paint right over the hot glue. There was one little hole at the top of the shaker that would not fill in with paint. Yeah, I could have used something on the inside to try to fill these holes, but you know what? They really weren't bothering me. And I was kind of hoping maybe the paint would cover it and you wouldn't see it. But I had this one little pesky hole that would not fill in. So we just left it alone. And I'm using twine now on this thermos. No, I didn't show you twine at the beginning, but come on, guys. This is a farmhouse DIY. Did you really think I wasn't going to use twine in my video? No, it was kind of like a last minute. I just thought this needed just something more. So I thought if I added twine at the top and twine at the bottom to cover where the ends of the buffalo check met, it would just finish this piece off. And it did. It's super cute, and I'm so glad that I decided to add the twine to it because it just ties everything in with that farmhouse country look. Plus, twine is like hot glue. I don't show you guys my hot glue gun at the beginning, but you know I'm going to use it, right? So here we go. How cute. Little bitty thermos. I'm going to show you a couple ways I styled this. I got this shelf from Hobby Lobby, and it has these little baskets and cubbies. This fits perfect in one of those cubbies. So cute. And I love the buffalo check. I love that popper red because it really makes the piece stand out. It also fits perfectly on a scale. So if you have a vintage scale, these 2 pieces look adorable on this scale. I have 2 scales. One's a little rusted and has tons of patina on it, and I love it. That's the one I'm showing you right now. And then I set it next to my other scale, and it's just, I don't know. I guess you have to love lunchboxes as much as I do to really appreciate this project. But so cute. You can put it in so many different rooms. I have it in my dining room right now, and I love this little farmhouse lunchbox. I hope you guys did too. If you did, consider subscribing to my channel, hit that like button, ring that bell for future notifications. I upload every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. I hope y'all are staying safe. I love y'all. Have a blessed and wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.